Hello and welcome, I'm Misstical, this is Misstical Gaming. We're jumping into watch your Realms Rambler Razin. Now, he is a new hero, he's coming out this weekend, he's on a banner with Yuri. Now, throughout the video, we are going to have a look at a couple of things. We are looking at how his mechanics work and how he actually functions and how you can sort of best pick people who go with him as well. We're not running Abyss 1 60k teams or anything like that, so if that's what you're looking for, this is not the video that you are after. Okay, we're just going to have a look at how he actually functions and does he function correctly, and are we getting what we actually expect from him. Okay, so Razin, Nightmare Council, single target physical damage, multi-strike, and he is on a banner with Yuri as well. Okay, so both of the same faction, both marksmen. The interesting thing to notice with this marksman is whether he does normal damage, he's not doing piercing damage. So make sure you're aware of that when you're attacking other people who might be in cloth and you're expecting that bonus. Now, we are going to be using two Razins. We've got this one here who hasn't got any skills done. We can see no skills done there. And occasionally we'll flip over to this one here who's got all of his skills done. It's just so we can see some slightly different things and how they actually work and operate. Okay, so let's jump in, have a bit of a play test with him, see what works, what doesn't, or if it's as we expected it to. For me, some of this gets lost in translation a little bit and it's not quite what I was expecting. Although lost in translation might be actually I'm terrible at reading the translated version. So, I mean, it could be me and the way I read it. So, there we go. Let's go in and have a quick look at Razin and how he actually works. Okay. Right, here we go then. Let's jump in and play around with a basic attack. Now, there's a lot of information, a lot to take away from this. Okay, right. So, physical damage, basic attack, deals 100% damage to one enemy, prioritizes airborne units, and we can upgrade that by up to 120% damage. Okay, right, now, a couple of things. Firstly, he does 3,307 points of damage with his basic attack. That's what he does. Now, he's got talent. A lot of things happen with the talent, okay? Every 10 instances of basic attack damage dealt by allies to this hero's current target activates one drums of war. Okay, drums of war, when triggered, launches a thunderbolt that strikes the target, dealing 50% damage. We'll come back to that. Up to 8 can be activated, each providing a stackable 4% attack bonus. Right, there's a lot going on there. Now, drums of war are one thing, thunderbolts another thing. They should have separated them from the start. It makes it quite tricky to actually understand what's going on. Okay, and you can store them and do them, and they are very different. Okay, so 10 instances of damage go on to his target. Then some stuff happens. One, he gets a drum of war stored. So he's got these circles that go around him, boom, 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 and surprisingly he's got 8 of them. So when there's 8 stored, you can actually see them because he's got sort of 8 glows around him, okay, so you know how many stored. But with a full team, lots of basic attacks, 10 basic attacks, you get those very quickly, okay. So it's not a massively onerous task that if you can or can't see them, they're going to be motoring around very quickly, okay. So up to 8 of these can be stored. Each provides a stackable 4% attack bonus. Remember, this is attack bonus, not bonus damage, so you are getting an increase in your attack. It will increase your damage, but don't think you're going to get a 4% straight increase in your damage. You may get more, you may get less. It depends on how this actually affects the defense of the boss. Okay, now there's a thunderbolt. Thunderbolt strikes the target, dealing 50% damage. Now that's 50% of the damage, not 50% of your attack. Okay, right then. Let's push this on. So a couple of things happen. So we've now done our 10 attacks and you can see we get this bright yellow thing going on behind him, and that's to indicate there is a drum of war getting stored onto him. Okay, right, brilliant. So the next thing that happens is we get our 4% attack bonus. We can see up there 4%. That now means we do 3,446 points of damage. 3,446 with one drum of war is an important number to remember. This Razak has no skills attached to him, okay? So this is a straight up 100% damage of what he does to this target, right? 3,446. That's an important number to remember. I'll labour the point, but we'll come back to it later, okay? And then we can also see that he's got a drum of war attached to him as well. We can then see there. So as he comes around to do his attack, we can then see on that spinning shield thing behind him, we can then see he's got Drum of War proc. Unfortunately, as the rest of the animation goes through, he loses it, which is a bit of a shame. So as he goes forward to do his attack, there we go, it's actually gone and we can't see it anymore, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. Now just after this we can see we've got a Thunder proc as well. Okay, so 1,723 points of damage. We can see that because we know they're doing the Thunder Shock is 50% of our damage, so we did 3,446, half of that 1,723, so we can see that we've got our 50% damage there, and that's our Thunder Shock damage. Okay, all working remarkably well at the moment. Now moving on, let's do Sky Shatter. Thunderbolt and Thunderbrand deal 100% increased damage to shielded targets each time a basic attack deals damage. There is a 15% chance to activate Drums of War, and remember that's an activated. That's not strictly true. It doesn't. What it does is it activates or lands a Thunder Shock. Okay, it doesn't store anything. You don't get a 4% attack increase. You just get the Thunder Shock part of it. Okay, you don't get the rest of the Drums of War. He doesn't get an increase in damage. All right. Now we can see here this one's fully skilled up, and what we're doing this time is we are doing 3,968 points of damage per hit. Now we've got our shield up and we're going to see a load of damage going on. Now I can't stop the numbers, it doesn't show up, but we do get a damage counter on the other side, and we can use that to our abilities. Okay, so we can see that we're now doing 4,135 points of damage. He's facing the wrong way, but we know we've taken an increase. We can see as he turns around, we can see a Thunder Shock in there. We can see a Drums of War that's gone in there. Now what's happened from our last damage to this damage? Where's it all gone? We were on 47,950 points of damage. If we add on to that the 4,135 damage that we're doing, that takes us to 52,085. We can subtract that from the damage we've actually got, and that leaves us 3,446 points of damage. This is your 100% damage done to a shielded target. So remember, it said you would do 100% damage. But the question is, well, our 100% damage, or before we were getting any damage increases, was 3,968. That's because this Razin is fully skilled up, and his basic attack now does 120% damage. What you're seeing, that Thunder Shock, is 100% of your basic damage. So when you upgrade your basic attack to do 120% damage, when this triggers off, you will get 20% less if you've got it fully skilled up. Okay, so just sort of bear that in mind. You actually, it says you're doing 100% damage, it doesn't mean you're doing 100% of what you normally do. You're doing 100% damage of your basic attack, and that's what it actually does. Okay, so just something for you to bear in mind as you're going forward, if you think you're getting slightly less damage out of him than you expect. Now next, so the question then becomes, well, can you stack him or use him with Setram? If I'm doing extra damage on a shielded target, so I go from 50, I then do 100% of damage onto a shielded target with his extra abilities, what happens if I use Setram in there and then hit him that way round? So there we are, we're doing our damage. Setram's are getting relatively close, so we can fire off Setram's ultimate, and that will put the shield breaker buff on us. So there's Setram doing his ultimate. We'll call him back. There's Razin. We can see there, just up there, we've got the shield breaker buff on us by Setram. Okay, so that buff has gone on us, and we can then have a look at the damage we were doing. So 4,135 points of damage we actually do. There's a 70k boss go, and there we go. There is our extra damage there. We're getting another 30% of it, so our damage now goes up to 5,375. So that is the increase that he actually gets because he's got that Setram buff on him. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now, next test, again, we've got a fully skilled up one because we're doing 3,968 points of damage to him each strike. Okay, now something else for us to be aware of or to check. Now, as you can see, we build up our damage, and what we're waiting for is we're waiting for our Thunder Shock, 3-9, there we go, absolutely going away, great guns. And we're waiting for that big yellow thing going on the back of him. There we are. There we are. We've now got our 4,100. There we go. We can now see we do 1,723 points of damage even without the shield. Again, we are going back to, we are doing 50% of our basic attack. That is unskilled up. Okay, so bear that in mind, right? Okay, it's the unskilled up version. It's 100% of your basic attack. That's what you're getting each time these Thunderbolts or Thunderbrands go off. Okay, so you need to be aware of what you're getting each time. Okay, it does count the amount of drums of war that you've got around you, but it only counts the damage if your basic attack was at an unskilled version, so therefore doing the 100% damage. It is a bit weird. Okay, so just make sure that you're aware of that and how that's working out for you. All right. Right, so the next one to go over is his next passive, which is Mark of Razin. Enemies hit by a total of 8 Thunderbolts will be inflicted with Thunderbrand. Now, a couple of things. Thunderbolts happen up to a 15 to up to a 35% chance, I think it is, if you get his passive, other passive all skilled up. And each one of those that proc off, when you've got a total of 8 of them, you instigate Thunderbrand on him. Now, what does Thunderbrand do? So, Thunderbrand goes on for 8 seconds. When the duration ends, it deals 1 instance of burst damage for each basic attack taken during the duration. Cool, that's a lot. So each basic attack stacks an 8% damage, so it notices the damage you're doing, it stores 8% of that, and will stack it up to 80 times. Okay, this effect cannot be dispelled. It's a bit weird because it doesn't go on there as a buff, so I didn't think it would be dispellable, for want of a better description, but it says it's not. So there you go, that's about it. It's a bit weird, but there you go. Now, we'll motor through this because it's going to take him a long time to do 8 Thunderbolts to get to Thunderbrand, okay, by himself. So we'll speed through this bit and then we'll slow down as we get towards the point where it goes off. So here we are, we can now see it going off slightly. We can see that little yellow glow beside him. Okay, or just by the monster's head, and we can now see just to the right of it, as you look at the screen, you can now see it, it's got like the 3 bits coming out of it. That seems to be the Thunderbrand icon. It's probably a terrible place to put it on. I'd have preferred something a bit more obvious, but there you go. And we do 3,864 points of damage. That's what we're doing. We've got an attack interval of 2 seconds. So that means come the end of the fight, we've done 8% 3 times. It goes on for 8 seconds. We've got a 2-second attack interval. We only get 3 attacks on at that point, and our 3 attacks come to 928 points of damage. That's what we do, but that's how it works. But if you've got a lot of people attacking, if you've got things like Twyla going on there with that deranged blade, if you trigger her ultimate going on there, she gets what, 12 hits in a one, doesn't she? So massive. You can stack this quite happily, and remember, we haven't got any gear on as well. Okay, so it's the functionality of it we're looking at, not how much damage we can squeeze out of it. Okay, so bear that in mind. It looks much worse than it would actually be. Right, there we go. That is the Thunderbrand and how that works. Now, right, the next thing we've got is his ultimate. Now we'll go through this line by line. There's a lot to unpack, and again, it's back to remembering certain things. Right, so the ultimate hurls a lightning spear and locks onto a target, dealing 1 instance of 200% damage and triggering all activated drums of war. So all those little circles around him get activated in a one-er. Afterwards, basic attack becomes a 2 consecutive strikes for 15 seconds, each dealing 80% damage. During the duration, drums of war can no longer be activated, so you won't get the lightning bolts coming down, doing 50/100% damage. When the ultimate ends, consumes all activated drums of war, so you won't get those 4% attack bonuses either. Okay, there's a lot going on, but he does get back round to it really quickly. Okay, now this is our fully skilled up version. We know that because we're doing 3,968 points of damage or whatever it is. Okay, so we know we've got our basic attack doing 120% damage. There it is, 3,968. So when we trigger his ultimate, what we're going to do is 200% damage. Now, we are doing 200% damage of the basic attack. The basic attack we've got at the moment, because we've got skilled up, does 3,968. Your basic attack normally does 3,307, so it's 200% of that, not of the damage he's doing at this moment in time. Okay, that also follows for his other attacks. Okay, so this one is skilled up, so if we look down on the levels, we've got these skilled up. So what he's actually doing is, after the basic attack becomes 2 consecutive strikes, we've got that. Okay, striking for 15, we've fully skilled him up, so it'd be 20 seconds. Each stack strikes for 100% damage, because again we've got this skilled up, and 100% damage is 3,307. Now remember, you are getting 2 strikes, so although you're doing less damage per strike, you're doing twice as many strikes within that duration. Okay, so bear that in mind. We can see there 2 strikes going on. There we go, 1, 2. We can see them both going on. So that's what happens. Although he does less damage per strike, you are getting twice the number of strikes on there. Okay, so you are collectively, you're getting a boost of damage overall. Now, when it ends, we can see there we're back down to 3,968 points of damage per hit. Now, any of the drums of war that you've got on there giving you that 4% attack bonus will also be gone, so they won't be available to you either. And that is how it works. That's his skills broken down. The big thing to remember is everything is based around doing 100 or 200% or 50% or whatever it is from his basic attack. If you upscale his basic attack, your basic attack does 120% damage, so you will see an oddity in the numbers. All right, for me it was a bit weird. I think they translated it, the translation was a bit odd. I think I'd have liked to have seen drums of war being one thing and thundershock being another, and also it being more specific about you would do 200% of the basic attack or something like that. I think the wordage is somewhat iffy. So a couple of things on this. If you want to find out who's doing what and where, then put a Volker in. Remember, this is all on basic attacks. So who does what basic attacks where, who's getting that prof, that sort of thing. So if we put a Volker down, doesn't even have to be targeting the boss. Let's not use you because you're a pain, because you put dots on. You're fine, you're brilliant, you're fine as well. There we go. You'll see these heroes heal themselves. Now they're healing themselves on their basic attacks. Now if you use their ultimates, okay, so for example, let's use Ivar's ultimate. You see him do his ult, he doesn't get any healing. Volker allows the hero to heal when using their basic attacks. You can find out if their basic attack, if their ultimate is part of their basic attack or an enhanced version or anything else. So if we use Twyla, for example, this one's unskilled, but when a basic ultimate does nothing, but she's got a better chance, look at them go, boom, of pulling off that deranged blade, I think it is. Now each time she pulls that off, then she does a massive number of attacks. I think it's 12. So she does with that. Helga, we can use her. Again, all those speed attacks Helga does, not a basic attack, so not going to work remarkably well with him. That sort of thing. So go through and have a look about who's doing basic attacks, what they're getting from it, that sort of thing, okay? There we are. So you can have a look around to see who's doing what with regards to their basic attacks. And in all honesty, by the time you've put him in a team, okay, he starts getting round to filling everything up. Let's just click this on auto. Okay, there was one peeled off there. There's another one being peeled off there. These are all basic attacks going on from people. You can see how quickly he starts to build everything up. I mean, absolutely madness. There it is, another one. There it is. Now, you see how quickly this goes on for him. Absolutely brilliant. So bear in mind the team that you'd be using and how quickly you want to use stuff, okay? He's firing off his ultimate. There we go. There's loads of damage going off. All right, so really odd little champion, but make sure you're aware of who's using what with him and how it's working out, okay? Just a little warning for you and a quick way to test on what is a basic attack that it keeps going on about. All right, now quickly is what kit you'd put them in. So if I just put him down with a Volker, it's quite interesting to note that I wouldn't use him in Infernal Roar. because his additional attacks and things he doesn't heal from. So I put him down over there, and we've got a Volker about here. We can put Volker down, and we can see him. He gets one heal. At no point when he does like a double hit or anything does he get a double heal. That never happens at all. Single. There you go. There's nothing there that puts him onto. There you go. Single. There we go. And now if you put off his ultimate, doesn't gets 2 healings off those, but the additional points of damage, things like that, nothing goes off for him. Okay, so it's worth noting for him, or at least for me, that he doesn't always, and there's a Thunder Strike going off. I don't think we get a heal from that. It's not something I would consider putting him in his Infernal Roar. I don't think he would, not all of his attacks would prof from it, okay? But that does mean that you're motoring through ultimates really quickly, so Soulbound Arcana would work for him. And then any of the tier 3 sets would also probably be remarkably good for him. But bear in mind, something else for you to consider when you're gearing him up, I think it's this one, isn't it? If we have a look at only this hero's exclusives, there we go. His exclusive for the Nightmare Council, basic attack, has a 5% chance to deal an extra damage one time. This is a massive attack for him, okay? That basic attack is coming around really fast, and it's an extra attack, which means you'll get to Thunderbrand early, you'll get more Thunder Shocks going off, because that's triggered off basic attacks. Okay, there's a lot that he profs just from this. This exclusive, I think, is fantastic for him as well, okay? So there we go. A quick look over how he works, what he does, and what he's usable for. Am I pulling? Yes, I'm pulling this weekend. Am I hoping to get him? Yes, I am. I think it's quite interesting. Do I think it'd help endgame players? Probably not so much, actually. I don't think so. If you've already got a lot of things on farm, then I don't think he's going to help you. I don't think he's going to be particularly good in the new Apocalypse, okay, Matrix 1. Don't think he's going to be very good in that. So not so much of an issue, but single target wise, I think he will be good at. Will he be good in arena? Probably. Some people may figure a way to get him involved in arena, but I think he's going to be quite hard to trigger his ultimate at the right times, and I don't think he'll be as quick as some of the other heroes like Sun Wukong and Cynthia. I don't think he'll be as quick as those. And he's quite pricey, comes in at 21 cost to get out as well. I know Ingrid teams do, and G's at 25, but I don't think that's going to be his place at all. But certainly the more people you have in a team, the better off he's going to be, okay? So hope you found this helpful. I hope it's a useful guide. Please give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. If you want to see me do anything else, then please shout out in the comments. Happy to do that. I'll try and do something during the week about where we actually fit him into teams, and you can see where he looks or how he functions prior to pulling him or looking at the banner for this weekend, okay? So thank you very much for your time. Cheers. See you soon. Goodbye.